It was a Sunday Mass like no other. From the heart of the Vatican, Pope Leo XIV delivered a message that stunned the faithful and shook political circles around the world. His target? Political nationalism. And his words? Unmistakably bold. In today's video, we break down what the Pope said, why it matters, and how the world is reacting to this landmark address. Imagine standing in the awe-inspiring St. Peter's Basilica, surrounded by thousands, only to hear the Pope himself denounce one of the most dominant political forces of our time. No hedging, no soft language, just a powerful moral stance. True love of country, he declared, does not demand the rejection of others. This wasn't just a Sunday sermon. It was a global statement, drawing praise, criticism, and intense debate. What led to this moment? And what does it mean for the future of religion and politics? Let's dive in. On a bright Sunday morning in Vatican City, Pope Leo XIV stood before a sea of worshippers and gave what many are calling the most politically charged homily of his papacy. With a voice steady and calm, but words razor-sharp, he condemned the rising tide of political nationalism, describing it as a distortion of patriotism and a threat to our shared humanity. His address wasn't buried deep in a Vatican bulletin. It was front and center, delivered live during Sunday Mass and broadcast to millions around the world. He called on Catholics to reject ideologies that promote exclusion, fear, or division under the guise of loving one's country. When nationalism becomes a creed, he said, it forgets the Creator. The significance of this statement can't be overstated. In recent years, nationalist rhetoric has become more common in political campaigns, government policies, and even church congregations. The Pope's message served as a direct challenge to that trend, and not just the ideology itself, but the moral reasoning that often tries to justify it. Pope Leo XIV is no stranger to navigating sensitive topics. He's led a papacy marked by calls for global unity, social justice, and dialogue across religions. But this speech marked a turning point. It wasn't a veiled reference, it was an unmistakable rebuke of what he sees as a growing threat to compassion and Christian ethics. He warned that history has shown us where unchecked nationalism can lead: wars, genocide, and societal breakdown. He mentioned the Holocaust, the Rwandan genocide, and other dark chapters that began with us versus them thinking. His message was clear. Division may be politically profitable, but it is spiritually bankrupt. Reactions came swiftly. Supporters praised the address as timely, courageous, and rooted in gospel truth. Human rights organizations and faith-based NGOs lauded the Pope for using his global platform to defend the dignity of every person, regardless of nationality, religion, or race. Cardinal Mateo Alvarez of Spain called it a defining moral moment for the Church in the 21st century, saying the Pope spoke not just as a religious leader, but as a guardian of human conscience. However, the backlash was equally swift. Several nationalist politicians accused the Pope of interfering in politics. A conservative media figure in the U.S. said, "The Pope is promoting open borders under the cloak of Christian charity." On social media, the hashtag #PopePolitics started trending within hours. Some Catholic commentators urged caution, worried that taking such a strong stance might alienate believers who lean toward nationalist views. They argued that patriotism and faith don't have to be mutually exclusive. But Pope Leo XIV had already anticipated this. He made a distinction in his homily, one that might prove crucial in shaping the debate ahead. He clarified that love for one's country is not the problem. It's when that love turns inward and hostile, cutting off empathy for others, that it becomes a sin. He also addressed youth directly, urging them to rise above simplistic slogans and political tribalism. "You are the generation," he said, "that must choose compassion over conquest, unity over exclusion." It's worth noting that Pope Leo XIV didn't just speak in abstract terms. He called on parishes around the world to intensify outreach to migrants and refugees, and challenged Catholics to actively counter narratives that demonize the outsider. His language was not theoretical, it was a call to action. And this wasn't just about political ideology. It was a theological argument. At the heart of the Pope's message was a simple, gospel-rooted idea: the neighbor knows no nationality. When Christ told the parable of the Good Samaritan, he made it clear that love must transcend tribal lines. By rooting his message in Scripture and Christian tradition, Pope Leo XIV isn't trying to drag the Church into politics. He's trying to remind it of its mission: to protect the vulnerable, to speak truth in love, and to remain a voice of conscience when the world chooses comfort over conviction. As the bells of St. Peter's rang out that morning, it was clear this wasn't just another homily. It was a line in the sand. Pope Leo XIV's words have sparked global conversation and controversy. Whether you see his message as a prophetic warning or political overreach, there's no denying its impact. What happens next will depend on how people, churches, and leaders respond. Will they embrace the call to unity or retreat into division? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Was this the right move for the Church? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more global stories with real meaning. Thanks for watching.